Oh yes, we do have another community member, Farron Tyron. I believe you're here to testify on the 162. You're recognized.
Um, Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senators, for having me. Today, Guahu Si Farron Tyron. I am a freediving instructor, avid hiker, and like all of you, a child of Guahan that deeply cares about the health of our island herself. I am also an amateur documentarian of sorts. And through my social media moniker, the Guam Guy, I film short stories about the environment of Guam, including the aftermath at Sasayan Cave, also known as Marbo Cave. Shortly after the KEPCO disaster, we also saw pictures circulating around social media which showed the once clear water has become completely fouled with sediment and debris. However, as the word implies, that was literally just the surface. By the next day, some of the floating debris was cleared out, but you cannot know how bad it really was and maybe still is unless you look underwater. So if it pleases the honorable senators, I'd like to play one of my videos to show the extent of the disaster. It's a short video, 1 minute long. And I believe Mr. Evan Siniklis will cue that up.
Oh, sorry, Farron, are you talking on behalf of Bill 162, which is to
Both,
ensure
sorry.
both
Both,
sides?
yeah, 162 and 165. Yeah.
Okay, okay, great. So we do have the video. We'll just give.
I'll go ahead and bring the video up.
Forgive my shirtlessness. I forgot about that. So I don't hear the audio, so I'll just provide commentary. You can see underwater, it's quite literally buried or partly buried in dirt. This particular part right here was nearly a foot deep of just muck just sitting along the bottom. Um, Obviously, there's a fish in addition to other freshwater species you'll find in there to include shrimp and suli eel, and you can see just how high the muck came up to be inside the cave as well. So as you just saw, the bottom of the cave is buried, and after seeing the damage and knowing this was a fresh water supply for our ancestors, I can't help but feel shame that we didn't protect it. And yes, this is an environmental travesty, but I actually find myself feeling less offended for the environment and just more personally offended. Um, though important, it's not just a cave with freshwater species and such. It's a part of our home, and that sanctity of our home has been violated, and the legacy of our ancestors has been literally polluted. And just more personally than that, it's a place of nostalgia and memories and family where kids learn to swim and you go to on a date with someone you care about. And maybe it's hitting me a little harder since I actually went diving inside the cave in the aftermath. But while I was still digesting what I had seen and then learning that what was assessed to be a multi-million-dollar fine get knocked down to a measly 125K, I just felt insulted. But now here we are with these two bills in front of us, and I am hopeful that bills 162 and 165 will help protect our island, or at the very least bring justice to violators, and of course to better equip EPA to fulfill their mission. And so I'm here in thanks to you, senators, for putting these bills forward and to offer my support for their passage. If doing the right thing isn't enough to compel compliance from violators, then maybe the fear of punishment proportional to their level of negligence will do it. Sanamasi for having me.
Sanamasi, Farron, because I think, we really need the community to get involved. And I've seen many of your posts and other like the oil spill. And I think it's really important to have our community report these incidences. And I think what you did was also critical because it helped to document the damage right after the fact. That US EPA took some time to get out here, and I think your involvement is so critical, and we're very, very grateful for your engagement. So Saduas Masi for your testimony and your commitment to the environment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No questions, just some comments. Of course, I support the bill, and I thank the author for introducing it. I think it's about time. I think this has been a long time in the making, and something that we should have done a long time ago. And had this cap not been there, then Guam EPA would have been able to fine KEPCO that 18 million or whatever figure it is they came up with. So I support the bill, and I think it's about time. I also want to thank Farron for all the work he does out in the community. I'm an avid follower of his pages, have been for a long time now, and I really appreciate it because it's a very valuable service to the community. Hey, Guam EPA should hire you maybe to be one of its inspectors to go out and make sure that these places are following the regulations they're supposed to follow. So yeah, I'm full support of the bill. I don't feel bad at all for a company like KEPCO if they're to be fined $18 million. You know, $125,000, in the words of Chris Barnett, to paraphrase what he said, is not even a slap on the wrist for a multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation, the largest power producer in South Korea. This is not even a slap on the wrist. It's not even a tilik of the ear. And that's something that Chris Barnett said on his show. And I agree with him. It's really not. So it's ridiculous to even think $125,000 would have any effect on a multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation. It's nothing to them. So we need to make the fines appropriate. And so lifting this cap will allow that to happen. And hopefully that'll help hold violators more accountable. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you, Senator Rajal, for your comments. Senator Tadigui, you had a further follow-up question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I ask if the committee can also seek any kind of recommendations from the Attorney General's office as well. I haven't seen anything from there regarding this legislation, and not just for the, lifting the cap, but any other recommendations to help mitigate the issue. There's one thing paying the fine, but mitigation is another area that we need to look into. Just like when there's an oil spill, they have to go and clean up what the damage that they caused. So I appreciate it. And then also I'd like to thank Mr. Farron, Mr. Tyron as well, for all that you're doing for the community. Your advocacy is very helpful, especially for senators like us who look to the public for their input, and you've definitely provided that for us here today. I greatly appreciate it, and please continue to do so. And thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate any input from the Attorney General's office.